You know, Vanity Fair had a piece that was titled, "Donald Trump's closing message to voters appears to be, I'm insane." And it walks through the specifics that we've been covering every day. I want to give you the latest example. Something that Trump has been saying a lot is that the enemy from within, and when he specifically cites who that is, he cites people like Adam Schiff, are worse than adversaries abroad like Putin, Xi Jinping, terrorist organizations, etc. And I want to play for you, after I play this Trump clip, I'm going to play you a Kamala Harris clip, then we'll get to other rally moments. And in the Kamala Harris clip, she points out just how dangerous it is that right before the election, Trump's obsession is not, I'm going to say everything that appeals to the broadest electorate and I'm going to make big promises. It's, I want you to know, America, if you give me the power of the presidency, I'm going to wield it to go after those that I hate. When he says the enemy from within, he then goes on to say, after defining it to be Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, etc., that he'd use the military. Well, a phrase that he hasn't been using, and he admits, in a sense, as to why this is in the clip you're about to watch, is the media is the enemy of the people. He hasn't used that as much, I guess, just because he's been busy using the other one. And here he again lumps into that group of the enemy from within, journalists. So when he says the military can take care of that problem, as we've played the clip a gazillion times, he then is talking about journalists, something Kamala Harris pointed out, and MAGA goes, "Oh no, it's crazy.
It's just bad."
By the way, please do, as you're listening to this clip and the others, click the subscribe button. We've crossed over 900,000 subscribers. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you. So we're so close to 1 million. Please help us get there.
They're just bad people. And until we get a fair and free press in this country, they're just bad people. I mean, look how easy. Here you have, all they have to do is just go, huh? 1 inch this way and 1 inch this way, and you got it. They don't want to do that. They're the enemy of the people. They are. They're the enemy of the, I've been asked not to say it. I don't want to say it. They're the enemy of the people. And someday they're not going to be the enemy of the people, I hope.
They're the enemy of the people, something that he absolutely has said before, but at least if I'm remembering correctly from the rallies that we've been watching to prepare for the show, that particular phrase was used less often, and just the enemy from within generally. So again, whenever he repeats this phrase and what he wants to do to the enemy from within, no, Scott Jennings, it's not rioters who would try to resist the election result if Trump were to win, as some people pretended like Trump's argument was, or it's not even as deranged as many of Trump's promises are in relation to this, undocumented immigrants. He's talking about Democrats, the press, and as if this is surprising, because who was it that said the government should come down hard on MSNBC? Donald Trump. Who called the press criminals? Donald Trump. You don't care. You don't. About the First Amendment if you're supporting this knowingly. I believe there are a lot of people uninformed supporting it. If you inform yourself on the things that I'm talking about and you know what Trump feels about our media and you think you also like the whole free and the press thing, you're wrong. Those two things are fundamentally opposed. And Kamala Harris pointed this out during her CNN town hall last night. I'll play this, then we'll get back to rally moments.
In 13 days, the American people will decide who is the next president of the United States. In 13 days, you will decide who is sitting in the Oval Office on January 20th. And on one hand, you have in Donald Trump someone who has increasingly proved himself to be unstable, and who, as we have established and the people close to him have established, he is unfit to serve. Somebody who, on January 20th, you can be sure, will spend full time, like we know, and we've seen the image mentally of him sitting in the dining room off of the Oval Office, watching for hours as people violently attack the Capitol. You can be sure, because he has said he would weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political enemies, that you can look at a Donald Trump in the White House after January 20th, sitting in that Oval Office, plotting his revenge. He has talked about the enemies within. We haven't even raised that subject, Anderson. The enemies within. He's talking about the American people. He's talking about journalists, judges, nonpartisan election officials. He has talked about, as John Kelly has talked about, can he send the military after peaceful protesters?
When MAGA says in response to this, when Marjorie Taylor Greene says in response to this, oh my gosh, Kamala Harris is trying to get Trump hurt by lying about him. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene who's lying. It's those MAGA folks who are lying. And the reason that we're beating this drum so much is because people don't know, apparently. Or they don't care. But at least Trump's aides think that a lot of people understanding how threatening Trump is being and how threatening he wants to be, they understand that that's politically damaging, because he even admits there in that little moment whenever I played it for you, they don't want me to say this. Who's the they? Probably his staff, advisors, aides. They don't want me to say this because it always gets in the headlines, as it should, and it always reminds people of how it's about me. It's about my retribution. It's about me going after the people that I hate. And it's not about the American people. If the focus of this campaign is on one side, you have Kamala Harris actually proposing things that would seek to uplift the American people, and on the other, someone who's so obsessed with his own power and retribution that that's all this presidency would be about, then I hope, and I think even Trump's advisors believe, that Harris would win this election. But if we continue to allow, as Jake Tapper said on CNN, I played you that clip in a different segment, if we continue to allow the two candidates to be campaigning in different universes, where whenever the media bubble is all talking about Kamala Harris, it's dissecting every little word and every little nuanced point to prove that they can be super critical, and look, we're just as critical as we are to Trump. And then Trump's over here in this universe, and I don't know how this speech is going to be summarized, but it just might be, he talked on numerous issues at one point, talking about the enemy of the people being the press, but at different points criticizing the immigration record of Vice President Kamala Harris and talking about the manhood of Arnold Palmer. And he did reflect back to Tucker Carlson's remark that he is the daddy and he wants to be the daddy, spanking vigorously the little girl. This is Tucker Carlson's nearly exact quote. And somehow the way that that's being reported on is not getting through. So please help me. Remind people in your life. It's on us now. Clearly, wherever people are getting their information is failing them or choosing to specifically mislead them. But this is not a matter of, we just disagree with politically. No. This is not a matter of, well, you think you're right and they think they're right. This is a matter of fundamental principles. Do you want someone who respects our Constitution or someone who calls for the termination of it? Do you want someone who respects our press or who calls them the enemy of the people? Someone who respects our press or says the government should come down hard on them? Respects our press or says CBS should be stripped off the air because it doesn't like an interview Kamala Harris did with them? It's not about vibes. I was just talking to a close friend who in their life is observing a lot of people who like Trump because they've seen him on a podcast where he seems like a guy's guy. This is not about vibes. This is about the continuation of our democracy. And I'm sorry it took me so long to get back, but let's look at some more clips.
Right, and we're a dumping ground. We're like a garbage can for the world. That's what's happened. That's what's happened to we're like a garbage can. You know, it's the first time I've ever said that. And every time I come up and talk about what they've done to our country, I get angrier and angrier. First time I've ever said garbage can, but you know what? It's a very accurate description.
Yes, he's talking about undocumented immigrants. But that, combined with the nation in serious decline, combined with his son saying we're an S-hole nation, combined with Trump saying we're a third world nation. Do you get it, Republicans? Voting for this is voting against patriotism. We're the garbage can of the world is what he's saying. You are not patriotic if you're only patriotic when your guy's in power. And that's gotten so twisted in the MAGA universe. At one point, Trump did have a glitch.
In the history of our country, because of that event, Putin went into Afghanistan. Putin went into in the history.
Oopsie. There's that. But given Biden's lock him up gaffe the other day, I'm not going to criticize that glitch too much, just for the sake of logical consistency. At one point, Trump wishes Carrie Lake well as she's this is so MAGA, leaves the rally early to go be on Laura Ingram's show.
Thank you, Carrie, and good luck. And you know what I want you to do now? Get up and go to that television show. She's doing Laura Ingraham, and Laura Ingraham has been great. And we want you to do great. You go ahead. The whole place, we're going to clap as you leave. Go ahead. Come on. Sheriff Joe. Thank you. Thank you, Carrie. Great job.
Carrie Lake is very likely going to be defeated. Hopefully, she will be. CNN did cover this live, and that's always a significant choice because you're giving him unfiltered access to the platform. But he did what he will always do, which is call them fake news, and then lies about the camera.
I watched last night. I don't watch CNN often, it's fake news, but I watched last night. Oh, the camera just went off.
So as you can tell, the camera did not go off because it's still filming him and we're watching it.
Oh, the camera just went off.
And you think that everyone gets that he's not accurate, but it's not true. The crowd's thinking, why did he turn off the camera? Look, they didn't. The red light's still on, as they always say. Red light went off. I'm sure not even every camera has the red light thing, but it's so annoying. No, why do so many people support this? I have some people write into me, MAGA folks, and they'll say, Luke, the reason you don't understand is because you never take the chance to listen. Wrong. I've listened more than you could possibly imagine, more than you have, Mr. MAGA person, to the right-wing arguments. In preparation for this show, we watch now hundreds of hours of right-wing podcasts and shows and speeches. I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of Trump supporters now. Some, yes, on camera, and it's quick, and you're thinking, that's not really you listening because you're debating, totally. And then when we turn off the camera, often sometimes just talking with someone at a rally goes 20 minutes. I'm trying to make sure my opposition to you is not, first of all, your humanity. I see you in full humanity. But my opposition to your ideology and your movement is not because I'm also in an echo chamber, but because you're misinformed, I guess, or incorrect values. And the more and more I listen, the more I'm convinced that yes, there are also incorrect people who are crazy on the left, but that right now, the Republican Party taken over by its extremism in the form of MAGA is what poses the threat to the country, is what rejects our fundamental values. Just like Trump's former Secretary of Defense has seen, just like Trump's former National Security Advisor has seen, just like Trump's former Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has seen, just like his Chief of Staff formerly has seen, just like Liz Cheney has seen, Adam Kinzinger has seen, but his followers can't see it.
A threat. But they even are taking over parts of Times Square. They're all over the place now, and they have weapons like very few people have.
So apparently migrants with crazy weapons are now taking over Times Square. Someone responded saying, here's Times Square at the moment. You can see not taken over with migrants with guns. I'm really wanting to balance being communicating in a way that doesn't cause all you to have heart attacks, right? Not just rah. Balancing that with also making sure the hope, the deep hope that MAGA media has, the MAGA leaders have, that Trump has, is convincing people through gaslighting that the reasons we're so disturbed and worried about Trump are irrational and hyperbolic. You care that he tried to block people's round power? Gosh, goober. You care about us accepting election results? Pfft. You care about us calling people the enemy from within and press the enemy of the people? You're so dramatic. And know that millions of Americans out there, potentially enough to win this election, see it too. They hear it too. We get it. The fact that the misinformation that reaches a lot of people makes you feel collectively gaslit by a lot of people because they're all going, what are you talking about? I don't see any issue with Trump. Doesn't make the facts any different. And the facts tell us this is not a man who we want to be president. And I say it that way because sometimes I get caught up in my own feelings about other people not getting it, right? But why? Why? And it makes you feel crazy because they'll just go, what do you mean? What was significant about January 6th? Some people walked on the Capitol. Who cares? And you'll think, what? It's a longer conversation as to how we got here, but we got here where there's a media environment that allows for an alternate universe to be created. And while, yes, I also see the incentive structure issues with left-wing media that can promote bad things as well, there's no comparison to the current state of MAGA media. And we almost have to have sympathy for people that are just living their life and are subject to, in the limited moments they're thinking about politics, strong, cultivated, perfected misinformation. I'll leave it there on this. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Get the bonus show by clicking the join button below.